Hi, I'm Patu from freefincal. In this video, let's take a look at the questions viewers had asked in the Google Forms I had provided. There were 16 responses, comments, questions, etc. Let's take a look at them. Yesterday, too, there were some questions or responses to the budget. I'll come to that after doing this video. So before we get to the questions, I just want to quickly point out that uh, I have just published a comparison spreadsheet offered by Vinay Vittal, who has given an Excel sheet where he has compared the new and the old tax regimes. You can enter your details and find out which is more beneficial for you, staying in the old or moving on to the new. Please download that. As part of the budget coverage, we had also looked at whether TDS will apply to mutual fund capital gains from April 2020. My opinion, my reading is it will not. It will only apply to dividends. 10% of the dividends from mutual funds which are more than 5,000 will be subject to a TDS of 10%. That is, if your dividend from mutual funds is more than 5,000 in a financial year, then 10% TDS will apply. It does not apply to capital gains, is my opinion. And also we talked about whether interest earned from PPF, EPF, Sukanya, SSY is taxable in the new regime. No, they are not taxable. However, in the old regime, the amount you invest is exempt, the interest is exempt, the final maturity value is also exempt for these schemes. But in the new tax regime, the amount you invest is not exempt from tax. The interest is exempt from tax, and the final amount is also exempt from tax. So in the old it is TEE, in the new it is taxable exempt. So TEE. And I'd also provided the list of tax deductions that are still available in the new tax regime, and the list and I also covered that the dividends will now be taxable as per slab. And I had also talked about the list of deductions that are not there in the new tax regime. So please go to freefincal.com, check out all these posts, download the Excel sheet that's in the first video, first post, and check out the rest of our budget coverage. So let's get to these questions. I'm not sure if I can answer all of these questions, but let's see. Any worrisome situation with LIC? LIC's bad debt has doubled since 2014. Insolvency ratio is at all-time least. Does the government's decision to sell part stake support LIC? Well, it's good for the country, I think. LIC will have to go through a change if it becomes, if it becomes listed. Then it will not. Maybe its claim settlement ratio will come down. Hopefully, it's good for the nation, and it will not be able to bail out bad companies like it has done for the government before. So overall, it's good for the company, but for the use, for the insured, it should not make a big difference in a big way immediately. Any details on the government's proposed major reform in recruitment of non-gazetted staff? I don't know about that. What does taxpayer charter mean? Taxpayer charter, but what it means is that the government essentially wants to create a mechanism in which honest taxpayers are not really harassed by the system, and there can be a way in which they can appeal and argue their case and so on. That's my initial understanding. We'll have to see how that works. I'll ask a person I know to write a detailed post on that. Will the HRA or loss on house property exemption also go in the new slab? Yes, it will go in the new slab. We have a choice of using old and new slabs for tax computation, and FM said taxpayers can choose. Once we choose new method, will 80C, 80D go away? If you choose new method, it will go away. Can we revert back to the old method afterwards? I'm trying to understand this. I'm trying to write a post on this. My initial understanding is it will not be possible for you to revert, at least if you're a normal salary taxpayer with no business income. It will not be possible to revert, but I have to confirm that. I'm reading the memo again, budget memorandum again, for better clarity. But it should typically, the way the government is going, they should make it hard, at least hard, for you to switch back. Income tax changed only for those willing to forego certain exemptions and deductions. Does it say which exemptions and deductions? Yes, I have written a detailed post on that. Please have a look at that. Post budget, I've done a small calculation. There's a link provided. I don't want to. I will go through this link. I have not got into it. Then I'll talk about it. If finance ministry's vision stands, where do you feel consumers are going to spend more? Travel, clothes, electronics, automobiles, jewelry, all of them. They're going to spend more. It's going to usher in a new era of top taxation, at least for the young earner. They're going to argue, I'm going to have more money in my hands. I don't have to forcibly buy bad products or invest in things that I don't want just to save tax. And that's going to be the era that the new India is going to shift to. It's a fantastic move, in my opinion, and that's the way it should be. Of course, the older guard is going to crib and crib and crib, but they will crib for everything. So let them crib. Then there's a comment. There's a difference between tax exemption and tax deduction. While FM playing with words in this was FM playing with words in the speech, I don't think she was. And it says, "What do my future multi-crorepathies care anyway?" Exactly. I mean, I want to be a multi-crorepathy. I'm on my way there. I don't care about trivialities. Question regarding dividends. Going forward, will dividends be taxed at our applicable tax rates, or will it be added to income? It will be applicable to tax rates, I think, as income from other sources. That's my reading. But anyway, it will be taxed as per slab. For direct mutual fund schemes, for any mutual fund schemes, the income will be taxed as per slab. That's the whole point. Direct plan, regular plan doesn't matter. What is your opinion about budget 2020? Is our government going in the right direction? Oh, it's going in the right direction. All right, it's fantastic to be in a regime where the government says you don't. I will. You get to pay lower tax without doing any deductions. I think it's fantastic, and I think most people have not grasped that point. There, oh, I will save this much tax in the old regime. This old regime is better. I will blah blah blah. That's just silly. People don't understand that they are locking away their money in things that they don't want or they don't need. When they have that freedom to do what they want by paying lower tax, and so I think it's fantastic. Can you please clarify if interest earned on excess contribution in VPF would become taxable? No, interest earned will not be taxable, but the amount, if you choose the new tax regime, then the amount you invest in VPF, whether it is VPF or EPF, will be subject to tax. You can't claim a tax reduction by investing in VPF or EPF. The interest is different. That's not being touched by this budget. So, yeah. To pay tax according to new regimen proposed by government, should we not include the deductions allowed under the professional income? I checked this looking at this question. I am not sure. I cannot find any reference to this section and the way in which the tax for small businesses is to be paid and so on. My reading is it looks it should still be available, but it has to be confirmed. I'll have to check deeply and so on, more carefully and so on. Why the market responded bad to the budget? There were comments about this yesterday. Some people feel that they have already factored in the fact that the Chinese market is opening tomorrow and so on. LTCD exemption of 1 lakh available under new tax regime or not, it's still available. How our government benefits from new tax regime? Do you think government could have introduced a single and simple tax regime instead of giving? If they had introduced just the new tax regime, people will get heart attacks. Already people are cribbing and so on. It will benefit because they want to reduce. It will help them reduce fiscal deficit because they are hoping that people will the contributions to the small savings schemes will come down. That's the whole plan. They want to reduce that, and it will make assessing very easy for them if they choose this. Will it cause confusion? Anything will cause confusion for our tax fellows. Anything, not just this. Any change, any rule, even if somebody says there is no change in any of the rules, our fellows will be confused and ask questions. So our fellows will be confused for everything. My reading is that I'm no expert. I'm on economics or so on, but I think it will help reduce the fiscal deficit. They have done some kind of revenue mobilizations by asking for what is that more than 7.5 lakh contribution by the employer will be taxed and so on, and they're basically saying the amount of money invested in EPF could come down. If people think extra amount, that is the VPF could come down, PPF would come down. So that's my opinion, but let's see. I mean, I don't. There could be other reasons as well. I'm not giving too much thought about it. Why inflation was not considered for calculating tax slab? Uh, uh, is our government creating overheads for the middle class taxpayers? Middle class taxpayers are always cribbing anyway. Inflation. That would be a good idea to have done that, but I think it could be done in the new tax regime, because I think the government wants to get rid of tax reductions per se overall. They have already said that even in the old regime, gradually they will be reducing the deductions available, and that's a very good move. We're moving on to a regime where you everything is market linked. All income, all kinds of income will be taxed as per slab, but the slab rates will keep going down gradually, and so on. And then inflation could be factored in. I think it's a very good point, and inflation should be factored in, but I think we're not there yet. It should be done in the next few years. So overall, I have no problems with this budget. I think it's a good budget. There could be turbulence in the market because of other reasons like the coronavirus and so on. But what can we do? We have to just grin and bear it, and let's see what happens. Other than that, it's really not a big deal. I mean, people are some people say I will never choose the new tax regime and so on. But then you are paying a price for it. Whether you choose the new regime or stick to the old regime, you are always paying a price. The question is, are you aware that you are paying the price? People are always looking at the tax saving, but they're not. They don't appreciate the price being paid. And I think if you do, then you will recognize that new tax regime is actually simpler and it's actually cleaner. It's better. You have more money in your hands. The government had to do that, because otherwise, if spending doesn't increase, the companies which are defaulting and the markets where the profits are not showing up, they will be in trouble. So they had to do this, and I think it's a good. I mean, of course, many people won't agree, but that's fine.